This is my crazy plan. I'm building a 100K video agency completely from scratch. No case studies, no niche, no client base, just a completely blank slate and 13 years of experience helping video businesses grow. And I'm applying it to a brand new market. Everything is being built live in real time, so you'll see the strategy, the outreach, the wins, the mistakes, all unfiltered. My goal is to minimize the fluff and give you as much value as possible. Right now, we're at the very beginning. I'm just getting started, picking my niche. I think it's going to be finance, and now I'm starting the research phase. So I've been studying the market and seeing what I can learn from the outside looking in. I've got no leads, no clients, but that's exactly the whole point. That's what this is about, showing you what happens when you start from zero and how to build something that actually works. So before we dive into the exact steps that I'm taking, here's how the whole thing is going to unfold, just roughly speaking. So think of this as a chapter breakdown. So chapter 1 is define the niche, dial in the messaging, the positioning, build a strong case study, and land the first client. Chapter 2 is build a simple but effective lead generation system that will consistently book meetings with qualified buyers. Chapter 3 is the master the meeting process and turning those conversations into high value clients. Then chapter 4, that's where you come in. I want this to be interactive. So drop a comment and let me know what you want to see, what questions you have, or what you're struggling with in your own journey. And I'll shape the next chapter around that. Here's how I'm tackling chapter 1, which is finding the niche. So I start with the Japanese concept of ikigai, which is the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what people will pay for. So for me, I've always had a genuine interest in the finance world. It's a space filled with complexity, regulation, information overload, and that's what exactly makes it so great for video when it's done right. So video can be super valuable in this space. But here's the crazy twist. It's also one of the most difficult markets to break into, and I've seen a lot of people struggle with it. So decision makers are skeptical, they tend to be quite conservative, and also incredibly busy. So why start here? Well, ultimately, I want to show you what's possible, even in the toughest market. So if I can break into this, into the finance space, you can break into any market. So the next step is researching the niche. And most people skip over this step, or they think Googling and doing 10 minutes of research is enough. I'm starting with basic market research, so with Google, competitor reports and audits and LinkedIn. But the real breakthroughs, they come through the calls that I have with decision makers. So the goal on those calls isn't to sell, the goal is to listen. I want to know what's keeping them up at night, what's frustrating their teams, the biggest opportunities and roadblocks, find out what all these things are, and more importantly, what language they use when they talk about these things. Because crucially, that language becomes the blueprint for everything: your emails, your landing pages, your case studies, and your offer. So once I start gathering real insights from real people, then I'll craft my first marketing message, and it's definitely not going to be perfect, but I'll be using their words, not mine. That's a key principle in strategic positioning. If you can describe someone's problems and challenges better than they can, they'll automatically assume that you have the solution. Step 4 is building a case study. So let's talk about assets. Now, most people obsess over websites and social content, whereas I just don't. A great case study beats the website, it beats your reel, it even beats testimonials. Your case study shows how you helped someone like me solve a problem like mine. And that's when your marketing stops feeling like marketing and starts feeling like mind reading. So in other words, it starts to resonate. And my challenge though is I don't yet have a case study, at least not one that I can use, because that's the rules of this game. So my focus now is on building one as quickly as possible, ideally with someone that I've built rapport with during the research phase. And this is really one of the most overlooked strategies in the game. If you do proper research, if you give your time, your brain, and your attention to understanding someone's world, many of those people will then want to work with you. My goal is to turn one of those early research conversations into my first 10 to 20K client, not by pitching, but by diagnosing and solving a real problem and making it a no-brainer for them to want to move forward. So that's the plan anyway, and that's where I'm at so far. Now let's shift into value mode. I want to give you some key pointers and things that I wish I had when I was first starting out, and some things that I'm embodying now and finding useful on this journey. So number 1 is that understanding your buyer is your superpower. Now, most videographers are still out there leading with gear, 4K, 6K, technical aspects, and creative ideas. Meanwhile, the best paid creatives, they're the ones talking about business problems. And I talk about this a lot in my book. Like, your success doesn't come from being better at video. It comes from knowing how to position what you do in a way that actually matters to your buyers. When you understand what your decision maker is struggling with, what's keeping them up at night, what they're trying to fix, what they're trying to avoid or achieve, then you don't have to sell, you just connect the dots. So if you're still writing things like, we create engaging cinematic content on your website, then the harsh truth is that no one cares. At least not the people who'll be writing the checks. They care about things like revenue, clarity, efficiency, conversions, looking good in front of their board or in front of their boss. So if you can speak to those outcomes with confidence and clarity, then you're already in the top 5% of the industry. That's what separates a videographer from a video strategist. That's the game I'm playing, and the one I'd like you to step into as well. I've seen so many talented creatives go off and make spec ads for Nike or Apple or Tesla, and then get frustrated when it leads nowhere. So here's the truth. Most of those brands, they're not hiring freelancers from Instagram. And even if they are, you're then now competing with 10,000 other people with the same idea. Meanwhile, there are business owners in your local area or inside your LinkedIn inbox who are struggling with something video could absolutely solve. They're not on Fiverr, they're not running contests, they're not shopping around, they just don't know what's possible yet. And that's what this project starts with. Conversations, not campaigns. I want to understand what's really going on inside the businesses that I'm trying to serve. And when you do that well, when you show up curious, not desperate, some of those conversations naturally turn into paid work. And I've done this over and over again. Research conversations turn into deals, not because I'm pushing, but because I'm listening and I'm offering a solution to what they actually want. That's how you build a business, through spec work, through strategy and service. So to be real with you, this has already been quite overwhelming. I'm essentially running 2 other businesses while trying to build this agency in public. And the truth is that I've felt the stress creeping in. But it's also the fact that I've been through this cycle enough times to know that the cure isn't to hustle more, it's structure. So here's what I'm doing. I blocked out an hour per day to work on this project, and that's it. Because consistency beats intensity. One well-structured hour every day for 90 days beats 12-hour binges followed by burnout. You want to look at what's realistic here and how you build something sustainable, not a sugar high, not like a launch, a real business with solid foundations. So if you've been spinning your wheels, posting to socials, sending cold DMs, tweaking your portfolio for the 7th time, and just stop and ask yourself, do I actually have a plan, or am I just hoping something sticks? If it's the second, then this is what this project is here to help you with. Not just to inspire you, but to give you a model that you can adapt and apply. So my goal over the next few days is to get some research calls booked with decision makers in the finance world. Right now, I don't even know if this is possible or like a viable niche or what their biggest pain points are, but that's what makes this exciting. In the next episode, I'll walk you through exactly what I did to reach out, what responses I got, if any at all, if I managed to book any calls. If you found this valuable so far, then please share this with someone else who's building a service-based business or who might get value from this too. That's how we keep this project alive, and that's how we ultimately help more creators escape the freelance grind. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that you want me to cover next. This isn't just about my journey, it's about helping you shape yours and get a fast track to success. So if you made it to the end, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next episode.